Hey everybody, GC13 here. Principal Bump is the man in charge of Hexside School of Magic and Demonics. He wasn't born into the role, though. Long ago, he was a student, and he helped conquer the rival school upon which the current campus is built. More recently, he served Hexside as assistant principal, displaying a rather meek personality. Well, Bump has definitely grown as an administrator, and is a much more imposing authority figure today. And I'm certain having to put up with young Ida's antics is only partially to blame. 90% tops. Ida may be long gone from Hexside, but at the start of the series, she takes on an apprentice, Luz, and it's in no small part due to Luz's efforts that Bump changes yet again. When Luz first meets Bump, he is scary. As a member of the Abomination Coven, and as someone smarter than Homunculus, he sees right through Luz's abomination disguise. But he doesn't just call her on it, throw her out of the school, or anything like that. Oh no. Luz's punishment for her little charade is being cut open. Naturally, Willow and Gus aren't about to let something like that happen, so they give Luz an opening to escape. Bump is able to catch up with them though, so Willow does the unexpected. She uses her powerful magic to attack her principal, and pin him to the ceiling.
Remarkable.
Far from being upset, Bump is impressed. Rather than throwing Willow in detention, he moves her to the plant track where she belongs. A curious bit of forgiveness for someone who had just threatened Luz with the dissection. But his mercy didn't end there. While he does ban Luz from Hexside after her escape, when Ida comes to him wanting to enroll Luz in the school, he's quite open to the idea. So open, in fact, he caught Ida off guard. He's willing to forgive the abomination incident, if Ida's willing to fix all the trouble she caused that's still plaguing the school 30 years later. Of course, there are limits to how much Bump is willing to forgive. No sooner has Bump accepted Luz to Hexside than he finds out just how far a power struggle within the Human Appreciation Society has spiraled. Naturally, he's ready to reinstate Luz's ban, and give Ida one for good measure, but Gus accepts responsibility for his mistakes and ends up losing his crown instead. And while that might have been Bump's forgiving nature seeping in again, on Luz's first day, we see that Bump runs a very by-the-book school, banishing any students who dare to study multiple types of magic to the detention track, where they won't study any magic. That's stern. Very stern. But when Luz and her fellow multi-track renegades save the school from a greater basilisk, Bump doesn't need much convincing to not just remove them from detention, but to give their multi-track studies his official blessing. Now, Luz got her way by appealing to how much Bump cares for his students. Amity's mother, on the other hand, has a lot of money, the power it brings, and feels a sense of glee when she uses it to get what she wants. When she decides she wants Luz and her friends expelled, there's not much Bump can do about it but cry. That wasn't enough to send Bump back to his old, meek ways for good, though. Once Luz worked her way into Odalia's good graces, or, once Amity forced her mother to honor an agreement she originally had no intent of honoring, and returned to Hexside, Bump continued playing fast and loose with the rules. At least I'm pretty sure that working with the Bat Queen, a giant palisman, to distribute palisman to students at a time when Palistrom Wood was so closely guarded, and the Emperor was running out of his own stocks, has to go against some rule, written or unwritten. By the end of the season, Bump was a hardcore rule breaker, and it was all for his students. When Coven head Adrian Gray comes to Hexside warning that the Emperor's Coven was going to forcibly brand all of the students with the Coven mark, Bump is all too happy to go along with his plan to place illusions of the marks on his students to defy the will of the Coven. It all turned out to be a trick, of course, but Bump also proves quite willing to attack Coven scouts. Belus may be Emperor, but Bump is still Principal. His school, his rules. Years of dealing with young Ida may have taught Bump how to put on a brave face and enforce the rules, but just a month or two with Luz taught Bump how to stand up for what was right. Rulebook be danged. We don't know yet what the final season holds for our favorite principal, but I'm glad he's still willing to learn, even this late in his career. What do you guys think? Was Bump's early brave face convincing? Did you expect his turn to the rebellion? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more cartoon videos.